There are both federal and provincial permits, and which one is sought after has to do with what specific species and activities the rehabber is looking to work with and partake in. Items such as migratory bird regulations and SARA are federally regulated, and there is a great deal of collaboration between federal and provincial bodies with regards to these to make sure they're upheld. SARA is especially collaborative as there is a province-specific version of this legislation. SARO is associated with Ontario specifically, but has similar guidelines for protecting federally recognized species in need of conservation protection. With further regard to Ontario, the Ministry of Natural Resources is the predominant government body with provincial jurisdiction that oversees the permit distribution needed to become a wildlife rehabber in Ontario. The specific bodies involved with rehab certification and permits at the federal level are the Environment and Climate Change Canada and the Canadian Wildlife Service, referenced in this slide. Alongside these bodies, provincial authorities govern rehab permits on a smaller level as well, and an individual or facility must have permits in both to be able to practice rehabilitation. Why are multiple levels important? Having bodies and regulatory measures at both levels allows for collaboration that leads to best practices, but also puts safeguards in place that ensure animals in care are receiving appropriate and responsible care that is wrought with vital ethical standards. The CWS administers many permits pertaining to very specific scenarios, though depending on the exact intended use for and species of the animal or its parts. Migratory bird regulation-based scientific permits are a great example of this. They deal with items such as migratory bird and eagle rehab of SARA-linked species, use of non-releasable birds to foster orphan juveniles, or keeping these species for educational purposes. Federal permits also outline the rehab of marine mammals through the Agency of Fisheries and Oceans, except manatees, and marine reptiles, but only sea turtles. All other marine reptiles require rehab permits through the provincially appropriate bodies. While permits are required through federal agencies for many particular species, all wildlife requires a provincial one. Federal permits are obtained through achieving a stringent set of requirements. Applicants must be 18 or older, save for parental permission, and must achieve 80% or higher on the rehabilitation examination administered through the appropriate bodies. Ministry personnel must inspect and approve the facility used, and this goes into the ability of that facility to provide appropriate care. Euthanasia methods, prevention of escape measures, compliance with current care and facility standards, and openness to ECCC CWS suggestions are all necessary to obtain this federal permit. Proper documentation is also needed, a letter of recommendation from a licensed vet and conservation officer or a current permit holder who has 100 days experience over the course of a year, alongside a vet agreeing to be a designated doctor, proof of insurance, and a vet's approval also must be obtained. Provincial permits also often denote the type of species a rehabber can take care of: small carnivores, protected game species, migratory and non-migratory birds. Species falling under federal legislation must follow federal guidelines. There are Indigenous considerations as well, and these demographics may have different permissions based on rights to land and reparative measures. Migratory birds are a very special case and require a separate permit issued by the ECC CWS.